Got it. Here's the translation as full paragraphs, not broken up line by line. There's a truth no one wants to face. Betrayal always comes from the people you once trusted most. Not from strangers, but from family, friends, and the very people who stood by your side when things got tough. And the most terrifying part? They'll never admit they're the traitor. In this video, I'm going to show you 7 types of dangerous people. The ones who can destroy you without ever raising their voice. They don't yell, they smile, they put their arm around you, and they stab you in the back. Don't watch this video if you still want to believe that everyone means well. But if you've ever been betrayed, or if something in your relationships just doesn't feel right, then you need to watch it to the end. Because what you're calling family might just be the knife you haven't seen yet. If this is your first time visiting the channel, hit subscribe and like so you don't miss out on exciting upcoming content. The most dangerous kind of betrayer isn't the one who openly dislikes you. It's the one who always smiles, pats you on the back, and pretends to be your friend. They don't hide the knife behind their back. They lay it right in front of you, under the tablecloth of friendship and fake kindness. They don't need to hurt you directly, because they're clever enough to make you sabotage yourself while thinking they're helping you. These people know exactly when to show up. When you're down, they'll offer advice that sounds well-meaning. When you succeed, they'll congratulate you, but their eyes will say something else. They're not happy for you. They're measuring how far you've gotten ahead. And when you make a mistake, they'll be the first to help you wake up. Not to save you, but to make sure everyone remembers they warned you. This type will stand by your side, as long as you don't threaten their position or their ego. But the moment you outgrow them, they'll quietly light the fuse behind your back. They won't attack you directly. Instead, they'll manipulate the narrative, stir up gossip, and let others turn against you for them. And what's heartbreaking is most people don't see it until it's too late and too much is lost. You think you can trust them because they helped you once? Be careful. Some people help just to create a debt, a chain you can't see. They don't give out of kindness. They give to maintain control. And when you stop needing their help, they feel threatened, because their power over you is gone. What makes this type so dangerous is they're usually smart, well-spoken, and seem trustworthy. They know how to guilt trip you for doubting them. They know how to play the victim, the nice person who's just misunderstood. And if you're not clear-headed, you'll fall right into the trap. You'll keep apologizing, keep depending on them, and keep thinking the problem is you. The only solution is to wake up. Judge them by their behavior, not their words. Anyone can say they love you and want the best for you. But when you fail, do they stick around? When you succeed, are they truly happy for you? When you have to take a stand, are they willing to stand with you? If the answer is no, stop calling them a friend. Stoic philosophy teaches that you can't control other people's actions, but you can control who gets to be in your life. The most dangerous person isn't the one who hates you. It's the one who pretends to care while pulling your strings. Don't keep them around out of politeness or fear of being alone, because the price you pay for being too soft with who you let in is betrayal. If someone's hurt you but you still keep them close just because they used to be good to me, remember this: a knife that once saved you will still cut deep if it turns around. Your job isn't to justify who's right or wrong. Your job is to live like a man with standards. And those standards start with this: never let a selfish person in disguise stay in your life. Some people will never argue with you. They won't throw harsh words. They won't openly turn their backs. They won't stab you with lies. But they'll still betray you, not through obvious actions, but through silence. By saying nothing, doing nothing, and refusing to stand with you when you needed them most. And here's the terrifying part. You can't even accuse them, because technically they didn't do anything wrong, at least not on paper. They didn't help you, but they didn't get in your way. They didn't defend you, but they didn't trash you either. They just disappeared. They quietly pulled out, clean and guilt-free, and left you to collapse on your own, while pretending from a distance to feel sorry for you. When everything falls apart, don't just focus on who's attacking you. Pay attention to who stands still, because those are the people who will make you lose faith in humanity. They're the ones who once said they'd never leave. They sat next to you during the good times, smiled, made promises. But when the storm hit, they vanished like they never existed. No check-ins, no support, nothing but emptiness. The problem? You don't even realize this kind of betrayal until one day you look around and see no one's there. No one speaks up when you're falsely accused. No one has your back when you screw up, but still deserve grace. And when you hit rock bottom, they just watch. Not because they're scared, but because they'd rather stay safe than stay loyal. Silence isn't always neutrality. In moments that demand justice, silence is complicity. When you're under fire, those standing on the sidelines are still helping your enemies. They don't need to do anything to betray you. They just need to do nothing. You've got to learn one hard truth. Not everyone who smiles with you will stick around when the storm comes. A lot of people are only near you because your life is easy, because your presence makes them feel good. But the second you become inconvenient, because you're struggling, failing, or flawed, they'll slip away like they were never there. Stoic philosophy warns us not to expect loyalty from the crowd. Marcus Aurelius said, "Be grateful when you find someone honest, but don't be surprised when most aren't." That's not cynicism, that's clarity. That's your wake-up call. To understand that the only person you can fully count on is yourself. The only way to deal with this kind of betrayal is to be so grounded, so self-sufficient, that you don't need anyone to validate your worth. When you can stand tall on your own, no one's absence will shake you. The silence won't sting anymore. And most importantly, you'll see who's really there. Not just when you're winning, but when you're at your lowest. If someone stays silent while you're hurting, they don't deserve to be around when you rise. In every team, organization, or social setting, there's a type of person that makes your skin crawl the more time you spend around them. The bootlicker, who punches down. They may never insult you to your face, but their presence alone poisons the atmosphere with fakeness, tension, and manipulation. They survive by bowing to power and stepping on anyone weaker to elevate themselves. And the sad truth is, society often rewards people like this. Don't confuse respect with flattery. A respectful person treats everyone with dignity, including the powerless. But the flatterer only respects those they can exploit. In front of their superiors, they're polite to the point of being nauseating. But the moment no one's watching, they become someone else, rude, condescending, and ready to stomp on anyone who can't fight back. These people have no moral code, only a survival strategy. And if you're not careful, you'll become their stepping stone without even realizing it. What makes them dangerous is they're not dumb. They know how to read a room, manipulate situations, and play the victim perfectly if someone calls them out. They can twist blatantly toxic behavior into, "I'm just doing my job." And because they're good at climbing the ladder, they often end up in positions of influence where they can keep distorting the truth and crushing anyone who dares to be real. The more integrity you have, the more they'll see you as a threat. Because you're the mirror that reflects the phoniness they try to hide. Because you don't play their game, you become a problem. And if you're weak, if you crave validation from authority, they'll manipulate you into becoming just like them. One day, you'll look in the mirror and realize you used to be a good person, but you gave up your integrity chasing hollow success. So what should you do? First, never befriend this type. They don't have friends, only temporary allies. Once you lose your usefulness, they'll drop you without blinking. Be civil, but keep your distance. Don't fall into the trap of thinking you can change them, inspire them, or make them see the light. They don't need to understand, they just need to get what they want. Second, never copy them, even if you see them getting promoted, praised, and rising fast. Reputation can't beat respect. Power will never replace character. You might lose some things by walking the honest path, but you'll never lose yourself. Stoic philosophy doesn't teach you to rebel. It teaches you to stand firm. It reminds you that your value doesn't come from where you sit in the org chart. but from who you are when no one's watching. Epictetus said it best, "Don't try to be liked, try to be right." That's the compass that keeps you out of the dirty power games these bootlickers live by. And if you're a leader, someone with the power to decide who rises and who falls, remember this: rot doesn't come from the bottom. It spreads when people like this get rewarded. Stay sharp. Don't let fake effort in a nice package fool you. You might get tricked once, but if you keep enabling it, you're not being betrayed anymore. You're betraying yourself. Stop wasting another day living in weakness and chaos. Subscribe to Stoic Success now to build an unbreakable mindset, master your emotions, and face life like a warrior. Not all betrayal comes from strangers. In fact, the most brutal stabs usually come from those closest to you: family, best friends, lovers. The people you thought would always protect you, support you, stand by you, are often the ones most likely to turn love into a leash. They don't need force or authority to control you. They use guilt, obligation, and moral debt, soft tools that tighten around your neck until you can't breathe. This kind of betrayal doesn't start with bad intentions. It starts with expectations. I'm your mother. You have to listen to me. I'm your best friend. How could you do that to me? I love you. You're not allowed to change. These phrases sound emotional, even caring, but they're weapons. Every word slices into your personal freedom. You're not allowed to live your truth because you owe someone else your loyalty. What makes it worse is this manipulation often comes sugar-coated. They care about you. They look after you. They sacrifice for you, but only as long as you live the way they want. The moment you grow, the moment you say no, they flip the script. Suddenly, they're the victim. They cry. They guilt-trip you. They accuse you of changing, of betraying them, of being ungrateful. But the truth is, they're not hurting because you did something wrong. They're hurting because you stepped out of their control. You think you have to put up with it because family is family? Wake up. Blood isn't a free pass to wreck your life. Family only has value when it nurtures you, not when it cages you. If someone only loves you when you obey, that's not love. That's a transaction with strings attached. There's a thing called misplaced loyalty. That's when you cling to toxic relationships because of history, shared past, or emotional debt. You're afraid to hurt them, so you hurt yourself instead. You shrink, you compromise, you kill your dreams and values just to maintain a fake peace. But the more you give in, the more they take. And one day, you won't even recognize who you are anymore. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "If someone tries to force you to act against reason or virtue, walk away, even if they're family." That's not an easy truth, but it's a necessary one. Because at some point in your life, you'll have to choose between being true to yourself and being loyal to someone else. And if you choose them over your own truth, you're killing yourself silently. The solution isn't to cut people off, it's to set boundaries. You can still love them, still care, but without surrendering yourself. No one, not even the person who gave you life, has the right to decide the life you live. Real love doesn't control, it liberates. And if someone claims to love you but disrespects your choices, then that love is already rotting from the inside. The longer you stay, the more it infects you too. No one can control you unless you hand them the leash, and that leash is often labeled loyalty or duty. Cut it. Blood doesn't define character. Family doesn't determine your worth. Only you decide who gets to influence your life and how far they're allowed to go. Some people have no backbone. They live like dry leaves. Wherever the wind blows, they follow. When you're celebrated, they're all smiles, right beside you. But the moment you're criticized, they quietly step back and act like they never knew you. They don't need a solid reason to turn away, just a big enough crowd to justify their cowardice. This is a silent kind of betrayal, but it's toxic as hell. No drama, no confrontation. Just one day, in the middle of the storm, you look around and realize the people who once cheered you on are nowhere to be found. They don't insult you, they don't judge you, but they also don't defend you. They go quiet, and that silence says it all. They don't care about right or wrong. They only care about staying safe with the majority. These people don't live for truth, they live for comfort. They need to feel accepted, applauded, like they're on the winning team. So when someone stumbles, they cut ties fast, afraid of being dragged down. When someone's misunderstood, they don't ask, they don't check in. They just slowly back away, afraid of guilt by association. And when you stand up against injustice, they don't stand with you. They stand off to the side, waiting to see if you win before they start clapping. This type doesn't betray you with harsh actions. They betray you with absence. And the worst part? If you're not sharp, you'll start doubting yourself. Because they don't just walk away, they make you feel like it's your fault. That you were too intense, too stubborn, not getting along. But here's the truth. If everyone stays silent in the face of wrong, that wrong becomes normal. And if someone won't speak up for what's right, they don't deserve to be called good. Being good isn't about words. It's about where you stand, when standing up means standing alone. Stoic philosophy doesn't teach you to blend in. It teaches you to stand firm, even if it's just you. Seneca once said, "Don't worry about what others think. They change their minds faster than you change shirts." And he was right. You can't build your life around the shifting moods of weak-willed people. If you live to be liked, you'll die from rejection the second you say something unpopular. So what's the move? Don't choose the agreeable ones as your inner circle. Choose the ones who disagree, but still stay. Choose the ones who will call you out when you're wrong and still stand by your side. And if someone's only around when things are easy, let them go when it gets hard. No bitterness, no anger, just gratitude that you saw their true colors early. The chameleon who shifts with the crowd isn't necessarily evil. They're just weak. But that weakness will drag you down if you don't cut it off. Don't lean on them for strength, and don't expect them to return when you rise again. Because they'll leave all over again the next time the wind shifts. Your real worth isn't in how many people stand around you. It's in whether you can stand tall when there's no one left. Not everyone stabs you and runs. Some stab you, then come back, hug you, and say, "I had no idea that hurt you." And because you're bleeding, it's easy to soften. You want to believe them. You want to think it was just an accident, that they didn't mean to. But what's the truth? They knew. They always knew. They're just pretending not to dodge responsibility. This is a deeply manipulative kind of betrayal. It's not loud, it's not impulsive. It happens when someone knows exactly where your boundaries are, what you can't tolerate, and crosses the line anyway. Then when you're in pain, they show up with an innocent face and say, "I didn't mean anything by it." That's not naivety. That's strategy. A subtle defense tactic to keep themselves looking like the good guy in their story and in the eyes of others. They want to preserve their image, protect their advantage. So they put you in a corner. If you forgive, they win. If you get angry, you're the one seen as negative, dramatic, or overreacting. They manipulate you using your own emotions. Don't confuse unintentional with blameless. In the adult world, accident doesn't equal innocence. If someone drives distracted and hits you, you're still hurt. You still end up in the hospital. You still pay the price, even if they didn't mean to. Harmful actions carry responsibility, and that responsibility doesn't vanish with a simple, "I didn't know." The one who plays innocent is dangerous because they make you question your own feelings. They'll say things like, "You're being too sensitive. I was just joking," or "I didn't think you'd take it that way." Each of those lines is a needle stabbing your self-respect. The wound might have been one cut, but the denial is death by 100. Because they don't just hurt you, they make you feel wrong for being hurt. The solution? Trust your instincts. If something hurts, you have every right to speak up. You don't owe anyone your silence. No one has the right to redefine your emotions on their terms. If they truly care, they'll listen, they'll adjust, they'll make it right. But if they flip the blame back onto you, that's not someone who deserves a place in your life. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "Apathy masked as innocence is more dangerous than an open enemy." Because at least an open enemy keeps you alert. But this kind, they wear you down in doubt, wondering if you're overreacting, selfish, or making a big deal out of nothing. Don't let fake civility fool you. Forgiveness is noble, But forgiving someone who refuses to take responsibility is just lowering your own standards. You don't need to rage, you don't need revenge, but you do need to walk away. Because respect for others has to begin with respect for yourself. There's a type of person who's a master at escaping accountability. They live a lifetime of failure, but never once take responsibility for it. When their life falls apart, they don't look in the mirror. They look at you. They don't ask, "Where did I go wrong?" They ask, "Why didn't you help me?" And somehow you become the reason for their wasted potential. This kind of person shows up more than you'd think. They always have a story about a rough childhood, a terrible boss, a toxic ex, an unfair society, and you, the one who once helped, sacrificed, stood by them. They'll use that closeness to flip the script. "You didn't help me when I needed it." Or worse, "You knew how I was and still let me fall into this mess." Sound familiar? Because we've all felt guilty hearing those words. We've all wondered, maybe I really didn't do enough. But it's time to wake up. A person who fails might be unfortunate, but a person who fails and still keeps blaming others is a walking time bomb. You can't save them because they don't want to be saved. They just want someone to drag down with them. And the more successful you become, the more they'll use it against you. They'll say you've changed, that you're ungrateful, that you've abandoned your people. But what really bothers them isn't that you left. It's that you proved something they can't deny. That even in the same circumstances, you moved forward. And they didn't. Never let someone else's intentional weakness become your guilt trip. That's manipulation. When someone falls and blames you, what they're really saying is, "I want you to carry the weight I refuse to own." That's not someone who needs help. That's someone feeding off your kindness like a parasite. Stoic philosophy doesn't teach us to hate failure, but it does teach us to distinguish between those who are trying and those who are making excuses. Epictetus once said, "If a man can't change himself, he can't change his fate." And people who blame never change. They just switch targets, jump from one excuse to the next, carrying the same old story. "It wasn't my fault." So what's the move? Don't try to play hero in the life of someone who refuses to save themselves. You can offer advice, extend a hand once, but if they keep diving back into the mud, let them stay there. You have no obligation to sacrifice your future to hold on to someone who disrespects every opportunity they're given. And if someone ever comes back after failing, not to apologize, but to blame you, just smile and say one thing: "I'm not the reason you failed. But if you need a reason to avoid trying, I won't stop you." Then walk away. No explanation. No more energy wasted on people who refuse to grow up. Betrayal doesn't always come from hatred. Sometimes it comes from cowardice, selfishness, and fear, all hidden under a mask of morality. What hurts isn't just the loss. It's realizing that someone you once called close couldn't even stand by you when it mattered most. But this isn't a call for bitterness. It's a wake-up call. To stop being naive. To stop sacrificing for people who only know how to take. To stop giving your trust so easily. And start living with standards. Stoic wisdom says, no one can hurt you unless you allow them to. So starting today, revoke that permission. Cut out the poison. Set boundaries. And learn to stand alone if you must. You don't need a crowd around you. You just need the right ones. And most importantly, you need to become the right one for yourself. Thank you for being here. If you found this video helpful, subscribe, turn on notifications, and like this video. Don't forget to leave a comment so we can spread positivity together.